ELF. English as a lingua franca. Any interaction involving English to whatever extent, but mainly spoken, that incorporates in the interaction at least one so-called non-native speaker user of English. ELF awareness. A number of things. The process of raising your non-native speaker learners' awareness of ELF. Also, the process of prompting them to realize that they themselves are ELF users outside of the EFL classroom and to raise their self-confidence as ELF users. Also, realizing that the use of English outside of the EFL classroom does and should inform our learners' learning of English inside the EFL classroom. And finally, being critically aware of the way that we as EFL teachers approach the teaching of English in our teaching context. By the way, this is the 5-minute definition of ELF awareness. There's going to be a longer definition in another video or other videos because this is a new term and it warrants a more extensive orientation. ELF awareness was first introduced in 2014 by me at my plenary in the 7th International Conference of English as a Lingua Franca held in Athens, Greece. It has therefore been defined and exemplified by myself and my colleagues Yasemin Bayyurt and Stefania Kordia in a number of articles and book chapters. So why do we need ELF awareness as a term? Well, because of the very nature of ELF. There are many things that ELF is not a language, not a variety. There are no ELF dictionaries. And yet ELF is out there. Non-native speakers of English use it all the time, effectively and successfully. It constitutes a very large part of communication involving English around the world. We cannot disregard it or dismiss it, not any longer. So how can a teacher link it with the EFL classroom? We cannot teach it, we don't know how to test it. All we know is that we cannot continue to disregard it. We have to acknowledge its existence, its relevance in today's English language world. But how? ELF awareness provides the theoretical basis for integrating ELF within the EFL world and to do it in a fashion that will help you grow as a learner and as a teacher, like magic. There are two things to remember with respect to ELF awareness. First, it has to do not so much with what you say when you interact in English, but how you say it, with communication strategies, also known as accommodation strategies, like paraphrasing, rephrasing, translanguaging, and so on. And secondly, it has to do primarily with attitude. Attitudes as a subject have been researched probably more extensively and more deeply than anything else in the ELF literature for about 20 years now. What do I mean by attitudes? The beliefs, perceptions and deeper convictions of anyone involved in any way about English language teaching and learning, and of course with English language use, about the role of the native speakers of English. I have a 5-minute definition of native speakerism here. The importance of norms and standard English for EFL pedagogy. Learners, teachers, textbook designers, policymakers, testers. Now, two things must happen with these attitudes as far as ELF awareness is concerned. One, we should become conscious of these attitudes. And two, in certain cases, some level of change or transformation of these attitudes is called for. In order to work with what ELF has to offer, we have to shake some deep-seated, outdated, misguided, and plainly wrong convictions about English. Why is ELF awareness important for teachers? Because it prompts them to think deep and hard about many things they take for granted regarding teaching methodologies, norms and standards, what works in effective interactions, and so on. It prompts them to get to know their learners and their broader teaching context, inside out, the whole ecology of their teaching, the whats, whys and hows, and to take control of their teaching and its impact on their learners' learning. Let me know in the comments what other terms you'd like me to define in 5 minutes. As always, I look forward to communicating with you. Bye for now.